Welcome to our new shop. So I've been talking about it, but I haven't really showed you guys yet. This is our new shop. It's not completely done yet, but it is usable. We just got done finishing up the electrical on the ceiling, and we got heat, we got lights, we got enough outlets to get by for a while. Don't have concrete yet or the walls done, but it's insulated and we got work to do, so we got stuff backed in here. It's really nice having a nice big open space where we can open up this planter and actually work on it and not have to be cramped. And the heat is also really nice too, especially today. It's like 30 degrees and 50-mile-per-hour winds, so it's nice in here. Anyways, we got the planter backed in here. We got some work to do to it. Dad's over there working on it. Kind of walk you through that, show you what we're doing. We got half of it done yesterday, but we're putting these, they're called Bandits. They're made by 360 Yield Center. What do you need? Anyways, we got half of them done. This is a fertilizer attachment that allows you to put a liquid product on both sides of the row. So we are adding that to our planter this year. We're going to be running 2 liquid products, a pop-up product in furrow, and then liquid nitrogen, 32% or 28%, through those Bandits, and we think that's going to be a little bit better for us. We got a lot of sandy soil and a little bit higher risk of end loss, and we had been in the past blowing 10 or 15 gallons of nitrogen on top of the soil, and if you don't get a rain right away, that could just be gone immediately if you get a hot, warm day or windy day or whatever. So we're going to put it in the ground. We think it'll be safer. We think we can be a little bit more efficient with our nitrogen. And nitrogen is really expensive these days, so we don't want to be losing it. Anyways, we're going to go through, try and get the other half of this planter done. And after that, we still got quite a bit more work to do. It's a relatively easy swap. What you do is you take this...
That was smart.
Uh-oh, spilled the pop. We take this closing wheel tail off, which normally mounts right here. Pop that off, stick the Bandit in, and then the tail bolts right back on here. So it's a really nice compact design. It doesn't really stick out much farther than the old setup. So when this planter's folded, it's pretty wide, so we were kind of concerned with that. That's one reason we like this setup. So anyways, bolt that on, bolt the tail back on. There's 2 discs that go on here, and then we'll have to do all of our plumbing later. So that is the steps of removing this and mounting this in between. The next step is to put these disc blades on the arms here. Get the knife out. Which one are you? It's not too bad. The biggest part is it's kind of a booger to get the wrench back in here on these nuts to get these tightened up. You can't really get in from the bottom with the socket because there's stuff in the way. This is a rock guard. We had to actually do some modifications on this. It was a little bit too wide. We had to cut the ears off to get them in there. But we got it. So disc blades, you put a bolt in, you put a little washer, then you put a big washer. I think what this big washer's for, I guess, yeah, you guys can see us. I think that's to keep the fertilizer out of the bearing, and because fertilizer is really corrosive. Then you put bushing. Next is the little fertilizer injector. That's the wrong side. I need this one. You shove the tube up through this hole and mount it like so, and put the nut on. Pretty simple. Get it tightened up, and then we got a dust cap that goes on there. That's all there is to it. Next step is to put closing wheel back on, as well as an updated drag chain kit. I'll explain that in a second. So we had drag chains on it before, but they weren't as wide, and these Bandits stick out a little bit wider than the closing wheels. So to put this kit on to make the drag chains a little wider, that way you can fill in any trench that this leaves. So get that on, get that tightened up, and stick the chain on. Final step, attach the drag chain, and this is what you end up with. Pretty slick. Well, we're back. It's a few days later. We got all of these Bandits mounted on the planter here. Next step is to get this tank mounted up. We bought this tank on an auction with that pump and those valves and stuff for $100. So hopefully it works. We're planning on mounting it on the tongue here. Just going through and taking it apart, kind of trying to figure out what we got here. This tank came with a bunch of framework and these stands. We're trying to see if we can repurpose them and use them for what we need.
That's about the right height too. Dang, that's so close.
You could almost, wait, what if we turn them like this? Oh, that's too wide.
Well, I was trying to use the same hose if we could.
Yeah, it's close. I think that would give us a little bit more support if we did them double like that.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't twist.
You might have to add a strip in the middle.
Yeah, or drill some holes. Our plan is to take these stands, put 2 of them side by side in the front and 2 of them side by side in the back. Take these beams or steel tubing, run one this way, set that tank right on there. So we've got a welder guy coming over after lunch. He's going to take a look at it and see if we can reuse all this stuff, and we'll probably have to do a little bit of fabrication to get it on there. Next thing I'm going to do is we got some more parts that I'm going to take off of another piece of equipment to just kind of scab this thing together. We got a whole bunch of different stuff that we just kind of fell into, and we're really not going to have to buy a whole lot of parts. We got a tank and a pump for a little bit of nothing. We got some plumbing on another piece of equipment that we bought, and it's actually working out pretty well. So I'm going to go out there and start taking that apart. All right, here it is. We bought a 16-row strip till bar on an auction, and this thing is set up to run liquid or anhydrous, which we're not going to be using it for either. So we got a whole bunch of plumbing on here. Let me get up here and show you what I'm talking about. See, it's got plumbing liquid to every row and anhydrous to every row. And it's got these red balls. These are flow indicators. There's a little ball in here that when your product's flowing, it floats up. That way you can keep an eye on it, make sure everything's flowing. And we need 16 of these on our planter. So I'm going to take this apart, pop these off of here. Hopefully I can do that relatively easily. And yeah, we're going to use it for the planter. So what do I need? I'll just get some cutters to snip all these hoses off because we're not going to use those. Get a ratchet, pop these off, and they should slide off of here. All right, give these a little snippy snip. Get them out of the way. Don't know if I'm going to be able to cut that big hose or not, but we'll give it a try. Got those off. Yeah, this thing's got all kinds of plumbing on it. There's a liquid pump and an anhydrous pump, pressure gauge for each row. It had those flow indicators on it, and cooling tower. We don't need any of that stuff. So just kind of a recap if you're having trouble following along. We've already got one liquid system on this planter that goes through the seed firmers. So we mount a tank on the front of the tractor and we plumb it back into this hose right here. We got our flow meter and valve right here. It runs along the back to, these are our on-off valves, one for each side, so 8 rows, 8 rows. They go through these red balls. So this is the left-hand side of the planter, right-hand side of the planter. These ones are actually getting pretty shot. They need to be replaced. Can't really see them. And then from there it goes out these blue tubes, one for each row. We are adding a second system. This tank will go on the tongue. We'll plumb it basically exactly the same. We'll have a set of red balls. I'm not sure if we'll put them on that side or in front of the tank or whatever, but it'll pump it back through the red balls out to each row, and then that will go into these Bandits, and we'll run our liquid nitrogen in those, and then we'll run our pop-up fertilizer in furrow. It's going to be complicated, a lot of plumbing. We've got all kinds of air lines on this thing already. We've already got air down pressure and up air lift and down pressure. So we got red for the bottom, black for the top. We got blue for our fertilizer, and we've also got the blue goes into the black for that. So we got some green tubing to run our new system. That way we can keep everything straight. But it's going to be quite a project. Well, we're over here at another farm. We got a pile of scrap steel here. We're going to dig through that, see if we can find some stuff to mount our red ball flow indicators. And also, a lot of you have been asking about this old truck. It's still not done yet. We got quite a bit of work to do. Now that we have a decent shop at Dad's, our plan is to get this in the shop probably next winter and get it put back together. But it's close, just needs a little bit more work. Anyways, let's find some steel.
Come out that way.
Yeah.
That's definitely heavy enough.
That's heavy. And we're back. Didn't get a whole lot done yesterday because we had some seed deliveries and truck broke down and it just kind of messed up the whole day. But anyways, got some steel. We're gonna start putting this red ball tower together. Dad's over there cutting some pieces up, getting some holes drilled. Should be pretty easy. After we get that done, we're gonna be kind of at a standstill waiting on getting those brackets welded to hold this tank. Guy came out and picked those up. He's gonna weld them together for us. And after we get those back, we can mount the tank. We still got to pick up some parts, flow meter, some valves, tubing, all kinds of stuff. So basically all we can do today is get our red balls mounted and then probably finish this in the next video.
Okay.
That'll work. So we got these. There's these little mounting points already welded to the frame. We're going to try and use those. That way we don't have to weld to the frame if we don't have to. So our plan is to just make kind of a support that comes back and then a tower that comes straight up. I don't know how high we'll go here. And then we'll have to go across. There's another set right here. And we can put our all our red balls 16 across. That way you can look at them and see them right in order, just like we got on our other liquid system on that side.
just made
Yeah.
it,
Just however.
cut it off.
Yeah, that'll work.
I need to take a little bit off here.
The grinder.
See what I mean?
Oh, that's not
Unless we want to. Oh, I see why. We need to take a little bit of that.
Yeah.
See, we could put a piece this way.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
We can figure out a 45 and just cut a piece however long. And
Yeah. This is kind of what we're thinking. We'll have this piece down on the bottom here welded on. That way we can bolt it down there, drill a hole there, bolt it there. And then we might have to make a gusset if we need to. Put another one over there. Cross piece. Should work. Well, we got all our pieces cut out. Time to start welding. Welds aren't going to be very pretty, but they should work. Alright, that welder sucks. It's not big enough to handle this heavy of steel. So what we're going to do is we're going to tack stuff together with that welder, and then I'm going to take it to my house. I've got an actual decent MIG welder over there. Then we're going to weld it with that. So those welds are just not pretty, and it's not penetrating enough. That's just a 90 amp flux wire welder. Just not big enough. Took these home, got them welded up. This is the welds I was ending up with the flux welder, and this is with my MIG welder at home. So just a little bit nicer. I'm not a great welder, but I can stick some metal together. Anyways, we're gonna get these mocked up and figure out how high we need to cut these off or whatever. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so this one goes here. Stick a bolt in it. Just about like that. I'll mark this where I need to drill a hole. And we should be able to drill that real quick. Stick that one on there. Alright, got the hole drilled. See if it works. There's that one. And bam, perfect. I'll just kind of put a nut on here, snug them up. That way it's not all loosey-goosey for mocking stuff up. And we are cooking. So this one, I didn't take into account that we got all these fertilizer lines running right here, and this gusset's kind of in the way of them. So I might have to pop this bolt out and run them on the back side of this, which isn't a huge deal. I got enough room there. I might just do that now, that way they're out of the way. We don't have to worry about messing anything up. So I need, what is that, 11/16? Yep, should be able to pop that off. Maybe, we'll see. Kind of nice, that's a carriage bolt in there. Should be able to just loosen that one. Pop this nut off. More. I have to take that all the way out, I guess. Yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, now I can put all of this stuff, maybe, over on this side. There we go. That should work. That'll give me enough room there. Slide that in. There it is. It's not bolted solid, but I think it'll be strong enough. Now we'll have to get a cross piece, figure out where those red balls are going to go, and cut these off however high we want. Right, Leo? All right, here's the finished product. We can take one, mount it here, and one mount here. So now the next step is get this cleaned up and painted green so it looks nice. There, just made that piece of scrap steel worth a lot more money. Well, it's the next day again. We got our paint dried, got everything mounted up here. We're gonna slide these red ball flow, whatever you call them, thingies, flow monitors on here, and get everything up here. I think that looks pretty good for a couple of rookies. So I think that's going to do it for this part of the video. I think I got enough for one video. That's going to be part one of our new liquid system build on this planter. We're just going through making this planter a little bit more complicated, but it's what we want. We've been thinking about doing this for a long time. We finally decided to pull the trigger on this. I think it's going to really help us out. So this has been a long filming sequence. I started this video 2 weeks ago, and this has been about 4 days worth of work, which is nice that we can back this thing in the heat and have it sitting here and work on it a little bit at a time. Before we had the shop, we had to pick warm days because we didn't have heat. So eventually this will all be concrete and we'll have the walls up, we'll have everything done, it'll be really nice, but right now it's manageable. So anyways, stay tuned for part two. We'll see you on the next one.